Okay, I'm live now on YouTube and on Facebook. All right. Right, welcome guys. Right with me. Let's see what happens. So, say chapter 18 and say start to finish. We are challenging ourselves to finish the whole thing. So chapter 18 start to finish and say which is chapter 18 is variation and selection. I'm not going to explain too much. We know that it's in 3 parts. I'll just give you part 1, the important things and the things that are asked in the exam. Then I go to part 2, I'll give you the important things and the things that are asked in the exam. And I'll go to part 3, which is selection. The important things and the things that are asked in the exam, and we try to finish it today. So the first thing, yes. Can I move up? Okay. Variation and selection, and you can put in brackets to say class notes. These are the notes from me. So, yeah. Okay, now I'm writing. Write with me. Variation. I'm only giving you class notes, I'm not explaining. Write with me to say variation is the differences between to vary is to differ. The differences between individuals, I'm giving you everything, so move with me, of the same species. Variation is the differences between individuals of the same species. Okay? In brackets, say members of the same species are not identical. So we want to know the differences between these members of the same species. E.g., humans. Okay, e.g. humans, that's the species. You can say they show variation in height, fingerprints, blood group, body mass, etc. These are differences that you find. Last line. Variation is important. So variation is differences between individuals of the same species. Variation is important because it provides differences in a population. How do you know that he is the one who committed this crime? We have to find something which is different, and we use fingerprints. We can use fingerprints, we can use DNA, whatever. These are important because they help us to have differences in a population. Now right here, some of these differences may actually help individuals to survive and reproduce. Okay? First part is done. Okay? Let's put examples of questions that they can ask. So we do a section, we underline, we do a next to it. Let's put examples of questions. Examples of questions that you can be asked. Number 1. What is variation? Number 2. Give examples of variations in humans. Then I want you to write below that to say solutions. We don't want this chapter to be long, so I have to stop explaining because the chapter will be long if I do that. So I agreed with myself that I will not take that temptation to explain too much. Solutions. Number 1, you say variation is the differences between individuals of the same species. Okay? It's the differences between individuals of the same species. Number 2, solution to the second one. Examples of variations in humans, things that are different, huh? Include body mass. You can say it include height, blood group. You know that it can be A, B, and O. Eye color, fingerprints, and ability to roll the tongue. I wish my camera was on. I'll turn it on someday. Have you done it? Now, let's talk a little bit about something that you may be asked. It's not so important, but you may be asked, so let's just write it. You may just be asked it, or you may not be asked about it. Just put it. I haven't seen a question on this, but I'm just going to teach you. Phenotypic variation. So basically, if we talk about variation, we can look at the difference in blood group. Blood group. Some have blood group A, some have blood group AB, some have blood group B, and some have blood group O. But these things you can't see it. So the differences in blood group are there, but they are not visible. Now, when we talk about phenotypic variation, we are just saying, tell us things that are different in human beings that you can actually see. Physical things that are different. Height, mass, eye color, fingerprints. These are not things that are inside human beings that are different. No. These are things that we can see. These are things that we can see, right? So blood group will be out of this one. It cannot be in phenotypic variation. So when we write the notes, let's go for it. We say phenotypic variation. Write with me. Let me write fast. for you to write fast and neat, you'll be writing small things. So remember, you're going to send me these notes, so keep it neat. I don't want to see people who write like a duck. Phenotypic variation is the difference, just like variation, the differences between individuals of the same species. But here it is the differences in features between individuals of the same species. Remember, we said you don't talk about variation when you compare a human being to a crocodile. You don't say a human being and a crocodile have different fingerprints. Hey! Between individuals of this. When we talk about variation, we're talking about things that are different between you and the next person. We compare people, a person to a person. If we want to look at crocodiles, we compare crocodile to crocodile. What things do they have differently, those two crocodiles? Anyway, a phenotype is a characteristic or feature that can be seen, measured, and tested, and tested. Seen and measured and tested. Examples? So don't let me down on this. It is differences in features. For variation, it's just differences between individuals of the same species. Here is differences in features that can be seen between individuals of the same species. Examples of phenotypic variation. Yes, I see your hand is up. You can ask the question. Yep. Yes, it's like it's the variation that you guys look at IGCSE. I don't really want to say it's a type, but you guys only do variation which looks at things that are observable. So you just say it is the differences in observable features. Okay? That's the one you look at. You are not going to look too deep into variation of blood group. You just talk about it when you talk about discontinuous, but mostly you'll be looking at features that are visible, okay? But yes, I don't want to really say there's phenotypic, genotypic, but it's just variation between the variation that has you looking at differences in things that are visible, okay? Differences in height, differences in things like that, okay? Are we together? Include height, body mass, eye color, seed shape, variation in plants, seed color. There we go. Phenotypic variation. Why I didn't really look at it as a form is the only forms that I need you to know is discontinuous versus continuous. That's the only one I want you to know. Phenotypic variation may be caused, just like discontinuous and continuous, may be caused by genes, the environment, or both. We know the causes. We'll look at them later. Right. I said I haven't seen a question on this, but I'm just giving you in case you get it. Here, right below it to say examples of questions. Examples of questions. Number 1. What is phenotypic variation. Number 2, give examples. Yes. Yes. Here, let's say phenotypic variation. What? Yes. Your masses are different. Isn't you can measure mass and you can see that it's different, right? You understand? So phenotypic variation is also differences in individuals of the same species, but it's the differences that we can see or measure or test like that. So we can say solutions. We can see it or we can measure it. Okay, Antonisha? If you can measure the difference, then it's a type of phenotypic variation. Okay, Antonisha? You can measure mass, so we can say it is a phenotypic variation. So solution number 1, what is phenotypic variation? You can say phenotypic variation is the differences in observable features. In observable features. The differences in observable features between individuals of the same species. Good question though. I like it. So it's the differences in observable features, that is what we call phenotypic variation. Number 2 says what? Give examples of phenotypic variation. I already gave you some, but you can just write examples of phenotypic variation include, you don't have to put this, you can say include height. You can see that, oh, someone is tall, someone is short. Let me change to yellow. Body mass. You can see, oh, that's a big person. That's stuff like that. Then you can have eye color. You can see differences in eye color. Seed color for plants. Seed shape. You can even put, yeah, things like that. Are we together? Then you close, underline. Underline. Next. Continuous variation. I don't want to explain. I've done the explaining. I just want to give you notes. We answer questions. We move on. So can you write this? And I want you to write here to say continuous variation is variation where individuals show, or where individuals have a wide, or you can say show a wide range, of values. Continuous variation, it is variation where there are many possible values. The individuals are having many different values. Okay? But you should say that these values are between two extremes. What does this mean? There will be many values, but those values have a highest and a lowest. Okay? They don't just keep going all the way to infinity. They end at some point. But there will be many, let's say between 0 and 100. There will be many. Some have 10, 10.5, 10, 10.7, 10.91, 11.3, all these values. That means you have so many values, but they will be between 0 and 100, for example. So that means they have two extremes. Okay? The lowest and the highest. But they will have many possible values. So it's just variation in which individuals show many possible values between two extremes. Okay? There are many small differences between individuals of the same species for phenotypic variation. For continuous variation. Come on, pay attention. For continuous variation. Let's keep going. Continuous variation say all forms or types of continuous variation, things that we describe as continuous variation, can be measured on a scale. Okay, mostly height, mass, okay, can be measured on a scale. Examples include of continuous variation. Examples include height, body mass, let's say, and finger length. Okay? Good. Put this last point about it. When, this is important because you get a question. There's a question I'll show you that I was seeing the other day on this. Very important idea. Let's go through it, okay? Guys, write with me to say, when continuous variation is plotted on a graph, it often forms a smooth bell-shaped curve. So put the diagram here when what you get when you sketch phenotypic variation. Okay. This is your graph. This is Y. This is X. This is the graph. It will come out like this. This will be the average. So it's often a smooth bouquet. The smooth bell shaped curve for continuous variation is because most values or most individuals are close to the average. Most of the people, that's why you see the mountain gets big here and here, because a lot of people are close to the average. When you go far from the average, you start to get a few people only. That's why the bell becomes so. Are close to the average and fewer at the extremes. Just like, for example, let's talk about human beings. Most of us have similar heights. Most of us, we are normal. So we'll be passing each other, we don't care, because you'll be maybe a little bit shorter than me, I'll be a little bit taller than you, but it's not that crazy. So we are related, so we'll be close to the average. Then you're going to have very few people that are very tall or giants. It's not many, so there'll be very few. Then you have very few people that are very short or dwarfs. Excuse me. So that means that most people have similar heights. Am I being heard? Yes. Most people are between 50 and 100 kgs or 50 and 120. Only a few people will be 180, whatever. Those are extremely big people of it. Or very small, much smaller than 50. Not many people. Do you understand? So most people are around about the same value for a lot of these things. For height, for body mass, for the length of fingers or things like this. Most of them will be having similar values. That's what happens with continuous variation. Okay? Am I being heard? Examples of questions? Number one. What is continuous variation? Number two. Give examples of continuous variation. Number three. What shape graph does continuous variation produce? I don't want to be tempted to explain too much, but I don't want to just speak and nobody hears me. Please hear me. Things that are similar between us but different between us, like height, mass, things that are where you can have any value, huh? We are different, we have different heights. But you can't tell me that either a person will be 1.5 or 2 or 2.5 or... No, you can have any height. So it's a continuous thing, and it's continuous variation because it's a difference between us. When it's continuous variation, a variation in which individuals show a wide range of values. So if they ask you what is continuous variation, it is a variation in which individuals show a wide range of values between extremes or between two extremes, highest and lowest. Okay? That's continuous variation. When you have something like this, it's true, we'll be having different heights and different masses, but most people will be found around the same height. They'll be similar between 1 meter and 2 meters. That's where you have most people, for example. So most adults. So very few will be much shorter than that or much taller than that. Very few people. We actually look at them and say, oh, you're this tall? Come on, bro. Ma'am, you're this tall or this short? You understand? Like very small people. It's very few when it's not many times when that happens. Now say solutions. What is continuous variation? Solution number 1. What is continuous variation? Right? Continuous variation is variation. Don't forget keywords for each of the things that we've been talking about so far. Each of the things that we've been talking about so far has keywords. Each of the things that we've been talking about so far has keywords. Continuous variation, its keywords would be the individuals show a wide range of values. That's continuous variation. That's the key thing there. Are we together? Okay. Let me refresh something. I want to follow. If we now write, we say, let's write now. Let me continue. Continuous variation is variation in which individuals show a wide range of values. The individuals will all be having different values, but the values will be between 2 extremes. We know that there is no one who is 0 meters tall, and there is no one who is 5 meters tall. So they show a wide range of values between 2 extremes. Okay? It can be measured on a scale. Any type of continuous variation can be measured on a scale. If it's something that cannot be measured on a scale, it is not continuous variation. Number 2, give examples of continuous variation. Examples of continuous variation is eye color continuous variation. No, it's not. You can't measure it. That's number 1. And number 2, we don't have a wide range of values. Either it's brown or blue or whatever. You don't have a wide range of values for eye color. So it's not continuous. Examples of continuous variation include body. Let me just include height. I like to start with height. Then say body mass and finger length. Number 3. What shape graph does continuous variation produce? What shape graph does let me put this question mark. Does continuous variation produce? Continuous variation, you can say usually produces a bell-shaped curve. There we go. Bell-shaped curve. Okay. That's it. No more notes on this one. Next. discontinuous variation. I want to finish it and say, that's it, no more notes in this one. Then we go to the next one and we say, that's it, no more notes in this one. Then we say, that's it, no more notes in this one. Okay? Give me a second. Make sure you don't go missing at any point in time, please. Some people who were in the lesson are now, Kuzi, what happened? Okay, it's fine. I'll look for them in Roderick. Discontinuous variation because I have a target to meet. Let's go. Discontinuous variation now. I want to finish. I don't want to come back to it. So right from I said make sure I don't over explain. I don't want to over explain. I want to focus on notes. For me, that's better. Right here to say discontinuous variation is variation that doesn't show a wide range of values, no, but it's variation where all individuals fall into a limited number of distinct categories. This becomes discontinuous variation. It's variation where all the individuals will fall into a limited number of categories, into a limited number of values. For continuous, there is a wide range of values. Here, there is a limited number of values. There are, in here, I want you to say one last thing. Bell-shaped, can be measured or scaled, and you can put to say, there are many intermediate values, which means in between values, intermediate values, between the two extremes. In here, there are no intermediate values. There is no, we can't say we have 1.5, whatever it is that you're dealing with, people, you know. When you're dealing with blood group, it can't be half of A, half of O, you know. Either it's A, it's B, it's AB, or it's O. You don't have anything else. Either it's a male or it's a female. Either you can roll the tongue or you can't roll the tongue. So these are things we count and compare. We don't measure. You don't measure gender. You don't measure blood group. You don't measure if you can roll the tongue or not. Things that you count usually, or you compare them with distinct categories, those are discontinuous variation. So, put, it is usually counted. Okay, you count it rather than measured. So it is variation in which individuals fall into a distinct number of categories. Examples include blood groups, which can be A, B, AB, or O. There's no other. Another example, sex, which means gender. Another example, ability to roll the tongue. Okay, ability to roll the tongue. Now, what shape does it give on a graph? It's not continuous, it's not bell-shaped, but it's bar graphs or bars. And we are going to see this in the exam, so watch closely. When discontinuous variation is shown on a graph, it gives separate bars or now let's just say separate bars, because the categories are separate. Because the categories are separate. Am I being heard? Am I moving with someone? Examples of questions. Examples of questions. Number one, what is discontinuous variation? Number two, give examples of discontinuous variation. Number three, come on, guys. What type of graph is used for discontinuous variation? What type of graph is used? This one where you have categories. You belong in one. You belong in one category. And there is we have a distinct number of categories. You belong in one. Solutions. Number one, discontinuous variation is variation in which individuals fall into a limited number. Individuals do not show a wide range of values, but they fall into a limited number of distinct categories, or in limited number of categories. I don't mind, but say limited number of categories or groups with no intermediate value. There is no in between. There is no male female. Distinct categories. Can you roll your tongue or you can't? There is no halfway. You can but you can't. No. Number 2. It's called distinct. Give examples of discontinuous variation. Examples of discontinuous. We are not getting tired. Hello? Keep going. Come on. Examples of discontinuous variation include do not get tired. Include sex. Then you can say ABO blood groups. ABO blood groups, we know that they are actually 4 because of codominance. But we write it as ABO blood groups. But we know that there is A, there is B, there is AB, and there is O. But we say ABO because those are the 3 letters that are used. Right? Class? Then we have blood groups. And we have, and ability to roll the tongue. I wish I could show you to see those who can roll and those who cannot roll the tongue. But it's still fine. Let's do number 3. The third question was saying, what type of graph is used for discontinuous? Is it continuous for discontinuous variation? All right. What type of graph? A bar chart is usually used as the graph for discontinuous. In other words, it is not continuous. It has fixed values. Discontinuous variation. A bar chart is usually used. Discontinuous variation. Why? Because the data from the individuals, because everything is from the individuals, the data from the individuals is grouped into separate categories. Is grouped into separate categories. Are we fine? Are we fine? Hi Seth, I see you from YouTube as well. Done here. Seth, well, it's you on YouTube as well, right? Are we together so far? Class? Okay. Let me just talk about something which you don't really need to know, just like phenotypic variation, but it may just be mentioned and asked about, so just write about it. Phenotypic variation is what? Variation in the observable, the differences in the observable features between individuals of the same species. Differences in observable features. When it's genetic, we didn't say genotypic like phenotypic. Hey, don't make genetic and phenotypic go head for head. But we can just write to say genetic variation. Okay, Seth, good. I can see you on YouTube. Well done. Genetic variation. Write with me. Genetic variation. I'm just giving you things that you may be asked, so I need to tell you. Is differences in individuals of the same species. that is caused by differences in genes inherited from parents. We all have different genes. They may be similar if we are relatives, but we still have different genes. No two people have the same genes. Impossible. Are we together? Genes are instructions that affect characteristics. Genes are instructions that affect characteristics. So example, so what is genetic variation? Differences in individuals that is caused by differences in genes from parents. So it's things that are different in you simply because you have different genes. Right? Hello? It's pretty much everything different about people. Almost everything that is different in us is caused by a difference in genes. Let's go. Examples? Almost everything of genetic variation include, or in humans, genetic variation in humans include blood group again. It's caused, the reason why we have different blood groups is because we have different genes. Sex is because of genes, XY chromosomes. Ability to roll the tongue, just basically everything. Okay? And whether earlobes, we'll talk about this one, are free or attached. We'll talk about it. Now, right last line. Genetic variation is important. If you forget something, you can forget this one. I'll forgive you for it. Genetic variation is important because it can be passed from parents to offspring. So any difference in you that is caused by the genes that you have. Difference. Example questions. I didn't really want to do this part, to be honest. It's not that important. But either way, example questions. Pardon? Okay. I'm back up. This is not so important, but the other parts are very important. The other parts are very, very important. Very, very important. Are you serious? Yes, the other parts are so important, my friends. Trust me now. Okay. Okay. Wait. Give me a sec. Right. We keep going. Can I keep going? I can see that I'm still live on everything, so that's fine. All right. Let's continue. We are not stopping, guys. We need to finish this, so I just have to keep pushing you guys until we're done. Right. So one will say, what is genetic variation? That's question one. What is genetic variation? Question two will say, give examples. Give examples of genetic variation in humans. Then number three would now say, question number three. I don't know, let me do two. Solutions. Solutions. Number one, what is genetic variation? Genetic variation is variation caused by differences in the genes inherited by individuals. It is variation caused by the differences in the genes. Your genes are different. We all know that. We all have different genes. So that means we'll find ourselves having different blood group. We'll find ourselves having different eye color. We'll find ourselves having many things that are different. Because why? Because we have different genes. So examples, I think that's what it asked. Give examples, yes. Examples of genetic variation. You remember things that we talked about in inheritance. Things that we were looking at and saying, okay, examples of genetic variation include blood group. We have different blood groups because why? We have different genes. Eye color. Different eye colors because of different genes. Sex or gender because of different genes. Tongue rolling ability. Why are some able to roll their tongue, some unable? Because different genes. Free or attached earlobes. Why do some have free earlobes and some attached earlobes? Because of their genes. Are we together? Are we together? Now we are talking about the sources of variations. This genetic variation is more on the source. The source of variation. So when we say genetic variation, we are looking at the source. Continuous variation can be caused by genes. So it will also be genetic variation. Do you understand? But normally, when we talk about continuous variations, it will be caused by environment, by the environment. So it will be things like your weight. You can gain weight due to the diet. All these other things. Why? It's because of the environment, the factors, the environment, factors that are around you, factors that are outside the organism. So if we now write of the environment, it's like the last type of variation, which we'll talk about. It's like we are looking at sources now. Environmental variation. We know that, okay, I'll talk about it more. I don't want to over explain, but the environment can cause the continuous variation. Okay, it's now we are looking more at the source. Environmental variation. Write with me. Environmental. It's just a few lines. Just give you 2 or 3. Environmental variation is variation not caused by differences in genes, but variation differences that you have that are caused by factors outside the organism. By outside factors. Diet was a typical example. It's not something you inherit. Don't tell me you inherited weight or scars, or if it's a plant, the way it grows. It's not about how it is inherited. Sometimes, if it's not growing well, it's maybe because of the sun. By light, how the light is if it's in a shade, it won't grow. Environmental factors include diet, climate, the culture, the lifestyle. All these will cause variations. Environmental variation is usually not inherited. Because it does not involve changes in genes. Environmental variation does not involve changes in genes. Examples: include weight, weight gain caused by diet. Another example: accents. Accents caused by the upbringing. Okay? Hello, get well soon. Some say it like that. Some say, hello, get well soon. Some say, hello, get well soon. You know, it depends with how you speak. It's caused by upbringing. And plant growth caused by diets. Italians have a way of speaking. Or let's say, plant growth affected by light, not by diet. Plant growth, I'll say, affected by light or caused by light intensity. Questions? Let me give you questions. Example questions. And let's answer them. Number 1. What is environmental variation? Number 2. Give examples of environmental variation. Now you see why I gave you the notes. I use exactly the notes that I've given you to answer these questions, and that is why I've given you those notes. Are we together? Class? Yes. Good. When we talk about in genetic variation, we could have put complexion. Complexion is more of genes, and then a little bit of environment. It can be also affected by environment. So that's an interesting one. Because yes, you can change environment and become a little bit lighter, but we can't really say your complexion has changed. I think that's a stretch. Complexion is more about genetic variation. So yes, well done. Good question. Good question, Ruby. Number one, what is environmental variation? Environmental variation. So you should just write all the types of variation, defining them on your own. Write the definition after definition after definition, right? Yes. And we'll just see how it goes. Number one, what is environmental variation? Environmental variation is variation caused by the environmental factors. Environmental factors outside of the organism. Outside of the organism. Are we together? Number two, give examples. Examples of environmental variation include weight gain due to diet, accents caused by upbringing, and plant growth affected by light. So it's more like at the end I may want to put a table where you define each of these, but not now. For now, let's keep going. Okay. Right. Now, can we write this? More like, put it as a subheading, let me say. Genetic genetic and environmental causes and how they affect the two forms of variation. Now we are at interesting territory. The two forms of variation, what are they, class? Continuous and discontinuous. How are they affected? First, you can put, just to say, in brackets, discontinuous variation, say, is usually caused by genetic variation alone. In other words, genes usually affect discontinuous variation, right? Discontinuous variation would be things like what, class? Do you remember the examples I gave you for discontinuous variation? I gave you the weight, the height. These things are usually the ones that they are affected by genes a lot of the times. Also by the environment sometimes, but most of the times it's. No, I mean discontinuous variation is not height, sorry. Discontinuous variation is things like gender, things like, sorry for mixing it up. Gender, and let me put examples so that I don't mix it up. For my students, what am I doing? Let me put it to say gender. This is a typical example. Blood group, another typical example of discontinuous variation. EDC. These are all caused by genes. Continuous, on the other hand, except for height, but usually continuous variation. This is usually caused by both. Or you can say is usually caused by a combination instead of both. But it will just mean by both genes and the environment. By a combination of genetic and environmental features. Environmental causes. Like this. We know that your mass, maybe you can be born with a huge body because of the genes or whatever, and then your eating will also affect it now. So a lot of these things. So lifestyle comes into play when we look at these things. Okay? Are we together? Lifestyle also comes into play. Right. Have you seen? Should I give you more notes? Let me give you more notes now. Right? In simple words, to say some variations is caused by some forms of variation. It's caused by genes only, while some forms of variation, you can say some variation, is caused by both. We don't like to say variations, we just say variation for plural and singular. Is caused by both genes and environment. So let me now give you better examples to say, write it this way so that we don't have problems next time. Discontinuous variation sorry for repeating myself, but let me give it as an example. Discontinuous variation is usually, give me an example. Give me a second. Hi, Dad. Hello? Yes, hi. Yes, sorry, I'm in a lesson right now. Can we talk in yes, I'm live right now. Can we talk at around 10? What is it? Alright, can we talk at around 10? Alright, cheers. It's another way. So I was saying discontinuous variation is usually, I'm just giving you notes that will last forever, is usually caused by genes. This one I can write fast. Discontinuous by genes only. I talked about it already, so it's easier now. Discontinuous, things that are categories, it's because the genes. Okay? Things that are categories, you can remember it. Things that are categories is genes. Example, e.g., blood groups. Okay, you can say blood groups. Blood group is determined by the inherited genes. And let me say, and not by, and say, and not changed by climate or lifestyle, etc. It's not a combination, it's strictly your genes that affect things like blood group. So that is why we learned about environmental variation in this. Discontinuous variation is caused by in genes only. Continuous variation, on the other hand, is usually caused by a combination of both. Is usually caused by both. I didn't say by one. Things that are continuous, things that don't have categories, things that show a wide range of values, they are usually caused by both genes and environmental factors. Environmental factors. Let's put examples of things like that. For example, e.g., height. Yes. What are you saying? Yeah. Height is affected by inherited genes. But let me tell you something, my friend. Yes, it is affected by inherited genes, but also by diet. You can go and do your research there. But also by diet, health, and living conditions. These can play a major role in the height of a person. Okay? So, genes for this type, for continuous variation, things like height, genes decide the potential. Genes tell you, you can be a very tall, you can grow to be tall. Potential for a characteristic. So that's potential. But what will actually happen will depend on your lifestyle or the environment. So let's just say not just lifestyle, but in many other things, living conditions and all that. But the environment, so the environment can affect how the characteristic or the feature will actually turn out. The characteristic develops. So for continuous variation, those things are affected by both, by both the genes and the environment. Thank you. We can now go to the next thing. Mutation. Can you tell? This is something which is very big for me, very big for you. It comes a lot. We are almost done. When you see yourself at mutation, you are almost done, my friend. You have done a lot of the hard work. Am I going to stop? No. It's almost like I would love to just keep going and going and going and going, and give you more. But I don't want to learn without my students, so yeah. But this allows us to do a lot of questions. Can you write mutation? I won't give you too much right here to say mutation. So let me just say something here quickly. I don't want to explain for a long time. But when we say we have a mutation, and I want to debunk some false things here. When we say a mutation, we're just saying your DNA changes. If you know that everything about you Everything that is going on inside of you is being controlled by your DNA. If any part of your DNA changes, that means those instructions that are governing how your body is running will change. So that's why mutation is important, because it actually changes the instructions that are running your body. So DNA carries instructions. Mutation is a change in DNA, or a change in your genetic material, a change in your genes. So it creates some new versions of genes that were not there. It creates new alleles. You know that you had one allele from your mom for something and one allele for your dad. After a mutation, we'll see a new allele that we didn't know. A new version. Now, that new version is going to be either beneficial, or it will have no effect, or it will have a negative effect. Okay? Are we together? Sometimes when a mutation has happened, you may have the protein that it was controlling, it may still work. So if the protein is not affected, then there will not be any visible change that we'll see. Okay? Many new mutations, actually, they don't have any effect that is clear, that we can see. So mutations are not always bad. That's a false thing. Most students think that. A lot of it. They think that mutation is bad. It's bad a lot of the times. Yes, it's true. When we say don't go close to radiation, what is radiation? What is radioactivity? Radiation is energy that is released from the nucleus of an atom. So don't go close to things that release energy from their nucleus, because that energy which comes can be taken in by your cell, and it can mutate. It can cause the genes to mutate. What is to mutate? Is to change. When your genes change, that's a mutation, creating a new allele, a new type of gene that we didn't know. That's a mutation. Now, that's not always bad. But if a new characteristic is now being shown, a new phenotype, if this new allele, because of course, it's 100%, hey, 100% of the times, mutation is equal to new allele. Okay? This one, we know that. Whenever there is a mutation, we'll see a new allele that we didn't know. But that doesn't mean that we have a new phenotype. That doesn't mean that we have a new characteristic. That doesn't mean we'll see something different. Maybe the new allele does not affect the protein. Maybe it will do the exact same thing the old one was doing. So that means that mutation has no effect. So don't say 100% mutation is equal to bad effects. What are you saying? Sometimes mutations have no effect, most times. But there will be a new allele, yes. So there'll be a new allele all the time, yes. But that doesn't always mean it's going to cause a visible change. A new phenotype. A phenotype is something visible. That doesn't always mean that. You can only have maybe a small effect, something which is not dramatic. So that means that this mutation is not bad. But, and also actually, before we talk about the bad part, some mutations actually give advantage. Mutation may actually help an organism to survive better, to reproduce better, to be more attractive, to attract a mate, to do many things better. Survive is important. To reproduce, that's so important when we talk about selection, right? And attracting mates. So that's good. If you get a better chance or more chances, if you're a bird or something, to reproduction, that's not a bad mutation. But man, unfortunately, some mutations are harmful. For example, There's a disease which we find in human beings called sickle cell anemia. We'll talk about it. So now let's talk about mutations. But remember, mutations can be neutral, mutations can be beneficial, mutations can be harmful. Right? Are you ready to write? Are you ready now to write the notes? Yes. A mutation. Now, don't let me down. Don't say things I didn't say. Don't say things that you are imagining. Stick to the plan. Mutation is a genetic change. Or a change in DNA. That's mutation. Really? Yes. Really? Yes. Write this, please. So, a change in genetic material. Maybe I should say, anyway, I've already written. It's a genetic change, or a change in DNA, or a change in genetic material. You got some genes from your father and mother. All the genes you have in you are from your father and mother. Then something happens and we start to have a new allele which was not from your parents. That's a mutation. But it's not always harmful. So right here to say mutations can create new alleles. Yes! New versions of genes. Which can, not always, but they can lead to new phenotypes. New characteristics. Things that we were not seeing before. Okay? New phenotypes or new features. New features shown by the organism. A mutation can cause new features to be shown by the organism. Sometimes small changes, but yeah. Are you writing with me? Mutations can be 1, neutral, 2, neutral. That means there will be a small change which has no effect. The change will be there, but it will be just a small change which has no effect on the protein that is being produced. They can be beneficial, which means they can improve the survival and reproduction of something. Improve survival, reproduction, etc. 3, harmful. Mutations can cause death or bad things. So now let's continue. Let's write in deeper terms. Most mutations have little to no effect on phenotype, on what we see. Most mutations have no effect on phenotype. Some mutations are harmful They cause undesired characteristics to be shown. While a few other mutations can be beneficial. Just a few can be beneficial and give an organism an advantage. That's what viruses do. They mutate. They change their DNA to survive. That's why you can't use any medicine on viruses. You can just slow it down, but never to eradicate it, because it mutates and comes back again. Coronavirus. Were you guys grown when there was COVID? Do you guys remember COVID? Okay. Mutations happen. Now you are grown-ups. So anything which comes now, you can see it much better than you saw COVID. Mutations happen naturally and randomly. But their frequency, you can increase mutations by exposing yourself to radiation. But their frequency can be increased by radiation and chemicals. So do you now see why people who work in plants where there is radiation, they have serious protective clothing? Because they cannot expose themselves to radiation, or else it can cause mutation in them. Much more mutation. Higher frequency of mutation. Mutations can increase the risk. Mutations can increase the risk of cancer if they affect genes that control cell division. Then 911, we have a situation. They can increase the risk of cancer. This is a bad thing. Cancer just means you have an unknown substance that is growing in you, a foreigner growing in you. And this foreigner kills your cells. It gets into your cells, it starts multiplying, it bursts the cell. And when they burst, there are now many more cancers that affect many more cells, and they start growing into many more cells. They burst again. Then they will be affecting more and more, and when they burst, they are killing your cells until part of your body is dead, another part is dead, and now you can no longer be alive. Cancer is bad. But we are talking about mutation from a standpoint of we are not looking too deep into cancerous ones. It's just one type of a question which can be asked on mutation in cancer. But mostly we are around it creating new alleles. Mutation is changing of the DNA. Mostly these changes do nothing. Sometimes they do some harm. And a few mutations can help the individual. Are we together, students? So right. examples of factors that increase mutation rates include let's go radiation, we have X-ray, include X-rays, include gamma rays, include UV light, which is ultraviolet radiation. Then it includes some carcinogens, which is chemicals that cause cancer, like tar. Chemicals such as tar in tobacco. It can cause cancer because it can cause mutations. Let me say this right now. A cigarette has 3 ways of killing a person, and those 3 ways work together. Usually they talk about 1, but a cigarette kills a person in 3 ways. Number 1, carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide, when it goes into your body, it doesn't come out. It's not like carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide can be exhaled. So for you to get in oxygen, right? Isn't if I do this, I've brought in oxygen, right? For me to do it again, I can't keep going because I'm full. My lungs are full. So if I breathe in like this, for me to breathe in again, I need to go. I need to breathe it out. Carbon dioxide goes out nicely like that. It can be inhaled, exhaled, inhaled, exhaled. It's nice. Carbon monoxide, when it goes in, it stays in. So now, oxygen can no longer be absorbed by the blood because the blood is full. It has carbon monoxide which is refusing to go. So carbon monoxide reduces your ability to breathe and get in, not just to breathe, but it reduces your ability to get in oxygen to important parts of your body. That's one way. The second way is not carbon monoxide. The second way is nicotine. Nicotine does not affect oxygen intake. No. Nicotine has nothing to do with oxygen. So we used to teach this in drugs, but your topic has changed. About 2 years ago when we were teaching bio, we had to teach these things, but no longer. We don't have to nowadays. We had to teach the drugs, the bad drugs that can affect you. Nicotine blocks. Do you remember when I taught you the heart? I said the heart itself, it has tubes and whatever, I'm not drawing that. But the heart itself, from the outside, if you look at the heart, you see some tubes that supply the heart with blood. The heart gets blood inside it and stuff like that. Okay, that's fine. It gets blood inside, then pushes it outside. Okay. But for it to be able to get blood inside it, like this, in tubes, it should also have, and take blood outside, it should also have some tubes on the outside that are supplying it so that it can keep going. Because the heart is continuously doing that. It allows blood inside, then it goes. Then blood comes inside, then it goes. Then blood comes inside, then it goes. And it keeps doing it 60 times per minute. So it's almost like every single second. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what the blood is, that's what the heart is doing. Now, to keep doing that, it needs to be given blood all the time. The heart needs to be given blood, or else if it stops, that's what we call a heart attack. It means the heart is no longer pumping, and that person no longer has blood flowing through their body. That's death. So, nicotine, the second thing, goes into these small pipes here and blocks them. These ones here. And it blocks them. And blood can no longer go there. and you can have a heart attack. That's nicotine. It goes in and blocks those tubes. Then there is the third and final. Besides, sorry, I think you can hear me again. So besides all that, students, let me make sure you can hear me. Can you still hear me, everybody? Besides all that, there is now tar. Tar has nothing to do with all this. Tar affects one part, DNA. So it goes right at the heart of the cell. Where? In the nucleus. And what does it do? It confuses it. It causes a mutation. It causes mutations. And that can lead to lung cancer. So, tar is a carcinogen, which is what we wrote about right now. A chemical. A carcinogen means a chemical which causes cancer. How? It causes mutations. So I've told you about tar. So don't confuse tar with nicotine or with carbon monoxide. Nicotine it closes the blood. It affects the heart there. Tar has nothing to do with the heart. It doesn't even look at the heart. Tar goes to the nucleus and causes what? Goes to the nucleus and causes a mutation. The DNA in the nucleus to change. Then now we have new alleles, and those new alleles could be very dramatic. They're not always dramatic, they're not always harmful, but they can be. And that can affect cell division. And once that happens, if you have a mutation which can affect genes that control cell division, those genes, if they are affected, then now you have new things being formed. That's a cancer, my friend. So the gene that controls cell division should never be changed. If it is changed, then the risk of cancer is so high, you can have cancer. So mutations that increase the risk of cancer. Mutations can increase risk of cancer if they affect genes that control cell division. I wrote it. Genes that control cell division should not be changed. But a mutation is a change in your DNA. So if some other genes are changed, okay. But if the ones that control cell division are changed, there we go. Watch out now. Examples of questions. Examples of questions. Number one, what is a mutation? Number two, why are mutations important in variation? I want to answer all these hard questions so that nothing will surprise you. Number three, state factors that can increase mutation rate. Number four, why can mutations cause cancer. We'll look at more questions on mutations. A lot of questions come, actually. There's a high chance you get a question in the IGCSE exam which is related to these mutations. Are we together? So, there is a high chance. There is a high chance. Let's go. There is a high chance. Now we write. Let's write. Let's put solutions. Number 1. Solutions. I want to go through the questions that I've given. Actually, I'll put more because these are just some. I'm not content with these 4. I need more, but I'll just start by doing these 4. Then there are more. I've seen a lot. So those questions that I kind of showed you at the beginning of the lesson, some of them were on mutations and new alleles being formed. So this idea of mutations is a big one. I'll need to do a lot of questions with you on this for me to say, okay, I'm happy. So it's going to take a lot. We'll do that tomorrow. Eh? What is a mutation was the first one. So this one is the easiest. A mutation is a change. A change in the genetic material. Okay? Change in the genetic material. If you want, you can say, or a change in the base sequence. In the base sequence of the DNA. We know that it's just a change in the DNA. So we can say a change in the base sequence of the DNA. Number 2, why are mutations important in variation? Okay. Let's answer that. Here we said it here. Mutations can create new alleles, which can lead to new phenotypes. That's why we are dealing with them. We will have new phenotypes that were not there. We will start to see things that were not seen. We will start to see more variation. It's actually great. A lot of the times we want differences in the population. We don't want the same thing, because let me tell you something right now. If all your plants, let me just give an example of plants. If all of them are the same, if a certain type of disease comes, it will wipe your crops. If all human beings have the same DNA, if a certain disease comes, it will wipe the entire population. So, for survival, we need variation. When there is variation, what we do know is that there is a chance that it will be for the better of that population. Some variations bring advantageous traits. Some variations help in survival. So this is not madness. When mutation brings better traits, we love it. So it can be important in variation because it can produce new alleles which will lead to new features that we had not seen before. So write it in biological terms. It can produce new alleles which can lead to new phenotypes. And this increases the variation in a population. So you go and you write that to say mutations. Let me tell you one thing as I say this. How you keep these sentences in you is you distance yourself from destructive things. You don't want to lose these things. These are special things. So try as much as you can. Reduce your social media footsteps. You're on Instagram, you're on TikTok, you're watching all these things, then you come and try to remember mutations, it's gone. Then you become frustrated. Then you hate school and yet you're a smart student. Stay away. You're in exam season now. All you're thinking about is my exam. I want to pass. I want that A star, no matter what. So there's this lecturer who told us and said, this is how you pass engineering. You need to turn the blinds on. In other words, close your curtains, guys. Stop seeing everything going on in the whole world. You want to know what's happening in Italy. You want to know what's happening in this country. You want to know what's happening in the government. You want to know what's happening at this school. You want to know what's... Why? Why? Focus on this. Sleep. Ignore everything. Just focus on this one thing. So let's write now this special statement that I'll need you to remember. Okay? We need variation so that if any bad thing comes, it doesn't wipe the entire population. That is why we have to be different. We don't want a flu to wipe us all because we have the exact same genes. So that flu will move through us and wipe us. No, we don't want that. So mutations can produce new alleles that were not there in human beings. New versions of alleles. This may be good, okay? This may be good. So which may lead, mutations can produce new alleles. The only way to make new alleles is by mutations. So mutations can produce new alleles which may produce or may lead, let me say, which may lead to new traits being seen. And the word for that is new phenotype. New phenotypes. And increase, and increase genetic variation in a population. Genetic variation in a population. We need variation. So is this good to have genetic variation? Yes. So is that advantageous? Yes. Okay. So is that why mutations are important? Exactly. That's exactly why they're important. Really? Yep. They produce new alleles. The only way to produce new alleles, how can you produce new alleles? By mutations. Mutations can produce new alleles. Okay? And these can lead to new phenotypes that were never seen before. And this increases the genetic variation in a population. Number 3. State factors that increase mutation rate. We already wrote them. The factors that increase mutation rate include X-rays, gamma rays, ultraviolet radiation, and chemicals. These are things. So X-rays, these are all electromagnetic spectrum waves. We know that. I know that you know that. We have X-ray, we have gamma ray, we have ultraviolet. We talked about them on the electromagnetic spectrum. And then we have chemicals called carcinogens. Chemicals that can, such as tar. But these ones, when a chemical is called a carcinogen, it means it actually causes a mutation that causes cancer. But here we are not looking at that specifically. We're just talking about mutations. Right. So state factors that increase mutation rate. This is now, you're right. Mutation rate can be increased. You can remember to just say X-rays by factors. Okay, say by ionizing radiation. I didn't say this, but let me just say it. When we say ionizing radiation, it means that it is something which changes, in simple terms. If it ionizes, it gives energy to the cell. So ionizing radiation such as, or by radiation, such as X-rays, gamma rays, and so let's just say X-rays and gamma rays. So it can be increased by ionizing radiation such as X-rays and gamma rays, and by ultraviolet radiation. It's not really ionizing. Ultraviolet radiation. It can cause mutations, and that is from the sun. And some chemicals like tar in tobacco, they increase the rate of mutations. Let's see the fourth and final question. Why can mutation cause cancer? Why can mutation cause cancer? I said here, mutations that affect genes that control cell divisions. Mutations, if they affect genes that control cell division, then they will increase the risk of cancer. So you can just say that. Mutations, why can they cause cancer? Because they can affect very important genes. Mutations can affect the most important genes, which are genes that control cell division. Mutations can affect genes that control cell division, causing cells to divide uncontrollably and form new things that were not supposed to be in your body, which is cancer. A growth. Cancer is a growth, something that starts growing in you, but it's not supposed to be in you. It's because the division is not being controlled. That is what happens. Right. Are we together? So guess what, guys? The first part of variation and selection is done for good. We are not coming back to it. All we are doing is questions from now on. We are definitely not going to do anything related to discontinuous variation, continuous variation. We've said enough. Okay? We've said enough. We've talked about all these types of variations. We will give anything that you need. You just go and refer to this. Huh? We talked about it, and we talked about the causes to say if it's discontinuous, that means it is variation which has segments. This variation is caused by discontinuous variation. We said it's caused by genes only. But if it's continuous, like height, it can be caused by genes and then also affected by the environment. So it's a combination of both. You look at that and you study deeply. You think about this. Focus. Keep reading it over and over again. What is discontinuous variation? We said it is the individuals fall into limited categories. The differences. The individuals fall into limited categories. And we saw that when you put it on a graph, it comes out as a bar chart. For continuous variation, we saw that you have a large number. They show a large number of variations between, or of differences between two extremes, or a large number of values between two extremes. That is what we call continuous variation. The individuals have a large number of values, or they show a large number of values between two extremes. There are several intermediates, and we said you get a bell-shaped graph when you sketch it. Oh, I am so proud of this group. Such hard workers. Right. As always, how we do it, timetable must be taken. So, I've already given you an assignment in maths, and I've given you one for physics. No, I will give you one for physics later on tonight. And for chemistry, some organic chem before we do more tomorrow. I will. Now, I have a very short part of bio to continue, so we have to fight it. I'm tempted to continue it tomorrow and look and finish the whole thing. Look at selection and stuff and get to questions. So make sure when you come for the lesson, you come rested, well rested. I've taken your register. If you have not sent me your full names, please send me your full names in the group, everybody. I'm proud of all of you. Well done. Well done, everyone. You did very well. We meet tomorrow at exactly the same time that we started. Every single day. Don't ever be late. Okay, Michelle, I see you there. Don't ever be late. We meet tomorrow. We finish. We talk about selection, select, and breeding and all these things. And we'll look at the questions that they ask you and how simple they are. And we butcher them together now so that by the time you get to exam season, you are ready. And we'll, of course, not stop. Go to the next biology chapter. I'll do less explaining, more writing, because we don't really have time. So let's see how many topics we can do in the month of May. If I target to finish a lesson in max 3 days. If I target to finish a chapter in like max 3 days. So we are fighting the big chapters and we'll be left with the small ones that can be done in no time. So if I can make you guys or you students start to get good marks for chemistry, then organic chemistry especially, I'll be very, very, very lucky. That'll be an amazing thing. So I'm going to round it up and tell you things that I need you to know for organic chemistry, things that you must be good at. We do a lot of questions and we'll see how far we can go. And then I give you a lot more to do. I know what I want to do. So that it doesn't confuse you. So I'm going to need to explain to you people thoroughly. It's not going to be easy. Explanations are not easy. We all know that. Like the part where I explain how things work, it's hard. You'll be asking me a lot of questions. But if I have explained the part to you, then learning becomes easy. Just like here, I explained the 3 parts of variation and selection. The first part is this one, which we have done and finished today, where you talk about what is continuous variation, what is discontinuous variation, what causes it, what are mutations. We talk about that. You are done. Then the second part, you start to talk about variation, which improves the survival and reproduction of something. That's adaptive features, which is inherited and improves survival and reproduction of an organism in its environment. Adaptive features. These are some variations don't help. Some variations change nothing. But some improve on an organism. And we love those ones. We'll look at them starting tomorrow. Adaptive features, a few notes. Then we talk about selection. Right. Thank you. I hope you all sent your names. There's a lot of work being done. So make sure you have sent your names. Make sure you take pictures of your notes. Convert them to PDF using CamScanner. Send them to me for grading. So I'm going to give you a link later on during the night where you send them. I just want to see all your notes. Everybody, get marks, and I'm going to put the marks on your name. And they are part of the marks that your parents will see. So being a good student is part of passing. So I will reward you for being a good student if you have written all my notes. I've taken the register. Thank you, goodbye, and good night, everybody. Please do my maths. Do my maths work and submit it tonight, okay? Because I'll be marking it later on close to morning around 4 a.m. So do my maths and submit it. Use the video from yesterday if you have forgotten it. Thank you. Yes.